If your dream is to become an AI product manager, then I'm sure this video is going to take you miles ahead. Hello everyone, my name is Ankit and today I'm going to give you the masterclass on AI product management. In today's session, this is going to be the agenda. We will first talk about the aspects of the AI product development lifecycle, how it differentiates from the traditional product development lifecycle. We will talk about various kind of AI PMs. We'll talk about the AI product development lifecycle. We will also talk about what is the role that you are going to play as a product manager in this complete cycle. After that, we are going to talk about building AI products. By building AI products, I mean what are the different kind of building blocks. We are going to take some examples from Notion, Atlassian, Stripe, and multiple others. Then we'll talk about common challenges that we face while building AI products. Then we'll talk about how RAG and evaluations can help you solve these challenges. And eventually, I'm going to talk about how you can become an AI product manager. We are going to talk about how to learn AI product management, how to use your skills in order to create proof of work, and eventually, what should be your strategy to getting the job in this fierce job environment. I have also curated all the top resources that you need to have to become an AI product manager in this well-structured document. So it contains the tutorials for all the top tools that you need to know as an AI PM. And also there are multiple resources that I have created across the years that will help you find a better PM job and become a better PM in that particular job. Okay. So make sure that you check the description of this video in order to download all of these things for free. Now go ahead with the session. Now, at the start of the session, I wanted to tell you that there are multiple kinds of AI PMs. We can do the broad classification into two parts. The first kind of AI PMs are people who are also called as AI enabled PMs. These are the people who are using AI tools in their daily life as a product manager in order to make themselves more productive. For example, they might be using ChatGPT in order to do data analysis. They might be using Notebook LM in order to do research of their user interviews. And they might also be using products such as Craftful, Canny in order to understand their user feedback. So this is almost 100% of product managers these days. And if you are someone who is doing product management job and if you're not using these AI tools, I think you are losing out on a lot of value. The second kind of PMs, which are going to be the focus for today, is going to be AI product PMs. AI product PMs are people who are actually using AI as a technology in order to solve their customer problems and achieve the business outcomes for their companies. Okay, now here the AI product PMs can also be divided into two parts. The first part are the core AI PMs, which is the people who are extremely technical and they are building the capabilities of AI. For example, someone who is building Vertex AI, which is Google's infrastructure for building AI products. Then someone who is building Pinecone, which is a vector-based database to store the vector embeddings for any AI product. Or someone who is building models such as GPT, Llama, Whisper, they will also be considered as core AI PMs. Now, there are also second kind of AI product PMs called as applied AI PMs. These are the most popular AI PMs. And most probably, if you are someone who is looking this session, most probably there are chances that you also want to become an applied AI PM. Applied AI PM is a person who uses these AI capabilities in order to solve the pain points of their customers and achieve the business outcomes. Some examples are someone who is building a product called as Notion AI, where Notion can help you do drafting, it can help you answer questions from your own notes, is going to be called as an applied AI PM. Someone who is building Grammarly, ChatGPT, Lovable will also be called as an applied AI PM. Now, observe carefully that I have written GPT here and I have written ChatGPT here. Why? Because GPT is a technical model where a core AI PM is going to work, but ChatGPT is an application of that particular model. So I have put this into the applied AI PM part. Okay, if you guys are interested in knowing about AI enabled PMs, then I will attach a video somewhere on the screen or in the description so you can learn about AI tools for PMs. We have conducted this masterclass about a couple of months ago. But today we are only going to talk about this particular part, which is how do you build AI based products as a product manager. Let me go ahead and tell you how does an AI product development lifecycle looks like. Okay, so this is where everything starts. You as a product manager are going to get some inputs from the business. You might get some business problems or some business goals. Similarly, you are going to do your market research by understanding your competition, understanding what are the different kind of market forces, what are the trends, what are the compliances that are going in the market. That will also give you some kind of problems or some kind of ideas to tackle. Similarly, your stakeholders, such as your sales and marketing team, your development team, design team, most probably your people who are facing the customers, such as support, sales, and marketing, they can also go ahead and act as voice of customers, and they can also give you a lot of problems or the challenges that your customers are facing. Eventually, you will also have a lot of data analytics. Okay, all of these things, along with your user feedback and your user research, are going to collect into a bucket called as problems. So these are the sources from where you are going to get many problems. That these are the problems that you can solve for your customers and your business in order to achieve your business outcomes. Okay, so this is the source of problems or insights. Now, always remember that no matter you are developing a traditional product or an AI product, you have to always start from the problems. Okay, if you're starting from the solution, it is most probably that you are looking to retrofit your solution into a problem that does not exist. Okay, so please always try to start from the problem. That is the first principle of product management. Okay, now you have the problems. You understand that all the problems do not need AI solutions. Some problem might need AI solutions, and some problem can be simply solved by non-AI solutions. Okay, so let's say right now we are talking about the AI product development lifecycle. So let's say we are going to choose an AI solution. Okay, so now we have understood the problems. We now have to understand what are the various kind of capabilities that currently AI has that can help you solve the problems that your customers might have. Okay, so let us try to understand the capabilities of current AI systems. Currently, AI can help you do following tasks. And you should observe this carefully because this is very important. The first part that the AI can help you do is AI can help you create some systems which can give you recommendations and ranking. For example, you are a product manager at Amazon, and if you want your customers to spend more on the platform, then you are going to suggest them some recommended more products. You are going to upsell them so that they are able to spend more money on your platform. Okay. Similarly, if you're a product manager at Netflix or Prime Video, then you want to suggest your customers some related videos so that their watch time can increase. Okay. So that is something that can be done with AI, recommendations and rankings. You are going to give the data of the past history of the user, plus what other people are doing on the platform, plus all the data that you have in terms of movies and trailers, and then the system is going to generate for you the recommendations and rankings. Okay, so this is the first and a very traditional use case of AI. The second use case of AI is going to be categorization and classification. By categorization and classification, I mean, consider that you are a product manager at Gmail. And if you want to understand whether the incoming mail is a spam or not a spam, should you put it into an update folder or social folder or promotion folder? So AI can automatically go ahead, understand the content of the email, and then it can classify that into spam, non-spam, promotion, social, or update folders. Okay. Now the third use case is forecasting. Forecasting means your AI is going to predict the next set of data that is not available yet. For example, forecasting the weather, forecasting the sales, forecasting what could be your revenue in the next 1 year or 2 years. Okay, so that is something also that an AI can do based on the past patterns and other inputs that you give. The fourth use case of AI is anomaly detection. For example, you as a product manager are working at a bank, and if you want to understand who are the people who are doing fraud transactions, so you are going to understand the pattern, put it in the AI, and then AI is going to tell you whether a particular transaction is a fraud transaction. That is one example of anomaly detection, and there are other use cases for all of these solutions as well. Now the fifth part that AI can help you do is contextual content generation. Okay, contextual content generation, and this is the most important these days because this is also called as the Gen AI. By contextual context generation, I mean that AI would be able to understand the context, and based on that, it is going to generate the data for you. The data could be text data, video data, it could be music, or it could be something else as well. Okay, so this is multimodal where you can go ahead and give some context to the AI, and it is going to create content for you. That is called as Gen AI or generative AI because it generates content. Okay, so these are the 5 use cases of AI or the 5 kind of solutions that you can build with AI. Now understand, you need to now merge your problems and understand that whether any of these problems could be better solved by the AI tools. And always remember, guys, that you do not have to force fit a solution. It could be possible that maybe a non-AI solution is a better solution for the problem right now. Okay, so you have to use your judgment. Don't just blindly run away AI-based solutions. Once you have this, now you are going to brainstorm with your team, and then you are going to prioritize and filter. You are going to prioritize and filter that which problems are important, which ideas are going to be implemented for which problems, what solution can work for which problems, and then you are also going to do some assessment. Assessment based on what are the different kind of models that you can use. You are going to understand what are the data infrastructure requirement because in order to make this AI contextual to your own solutions or your own problems, you have to train it. And for that, you need to make sure that you have some data with you. Okay. Similarly, you are going to talk about cost considerations, and you are also going to talk about user experience issues. Okay. Understand building an AI based product is different than building a traditional product. So there are some challenges that come across in the user experience when you are building the AI products. We are going to talk about all of these challenges in the coming part of the session. Okay, so you are going to consider all of these things, the monetization and the cost part as well. And over and above, you are also going to consider whether this thing aligns with the user needs and the business needs. Understand, forget about AI and everything. You can only become a good product manager if you are focusing on the user needs and the business needs. You have to balance them. Okay. Now, after doing this prioritization and filter, you are also going to understand which is going to be a more impactful initiative to take, which is going to be a less impactful initiative, what is going to take more efforts, what is going to take less efforts. And based on this kind of prioritization and filtering, impact versus effort prioritization filtering, okay, you will be ending up with a simple product roadmap. Okay, you will end up with a simple product roadmap. Now, once you have the product roadmap, understand product roadmap is a very high level document where you might have not defined all the details of your solutions. Now, after this, what we'll do is we will take this product roadmap, we will detail this. We will convert it in the form of product requirement documents. We will break it down in the form of tasks so that now it is in the executable form for your team. Okay, so now we are going to convert this into a product backlog. Okay, now you have a product backlog. What you will do is you'll understand that a product backlog can contain hundreds of things, but you cannot implement hundreds of things at one time. So what you are going to do is you are going to again prioritize, you are going to again filter, which is called as backlog grooming. And then you are going to choose things which can be done in, let's say, next 2 to 4 weeks. This 2 to 4 weeks period is called as an sprint, where your tech team, which is your engineers, plus your design team, plus your data team. Understand, I have implemented data team here because data team is a very crucial team when it comes to AI product management. Okay. And once you have this team, understand 2 to 4 weeks is good enough to implement a small feature or at least do an experiment. If your experiment is longer, or let's say if your feature is going to take longer, you can still break it down into smaller parts so that you are able to go ahead and ship something almost 2 to 4 weeks, every 2 to 4 weeks. Okay. After this, once the product has been created, you are going to test the product, or your testers are going to test the product. In AI product management, rather than just using testing, we also do something called as evaluations, which we are going to talk about in the coming part of the session. Now, after testing, we are going to create a go-to-market strategy which is how do we make sure that the product is able to do well in the market. And eventually, after doing this, we are going to ship the product to the users. Understand, in the GTM part, your sales, your marketing, and your growth team are going to be your major stakeholders. And once you are done, then you are going to go ahead, ship the product to the user. User will like or not like the feature. They are going to give you the feedback. Then again, that feedback would be given to you. And then as a product manager, you are going to validate it. You are going to understand whether it's a market need, business need, it aligns with the stakeholders, does your analytics support it? Based on all of these analysis, you are again going to come up with a new set of problems. And again, you are going to follow the whole process. Okay. In product management, this particular part is called as product discovery. Building the product is called as the product delivery. And here where you are growing the product, taking it to the users, will be called as product distribution. So this is the product development lifecycle for an AI product. And here, the major thing that you have to consider is that there are going to be a bit different stakeholders. And you also have to consider about a lot of other things, which I'm going to again talk about in the coming sessions, to make sure that your AI product works. And also you have to learn about these 5 kinds of use cases that are possible with AI. Now that we have understood the AI product development lifecycle, now let me go ahead and give it a better representation. So whenever you start thinking about any AI or non-AI product, you have to always start with the problem space. The problem space contains why are you building the product? The problem space answers why are you building the product? Okay. And the reason could be there is some business challenge that you are trying to solve. There is some user insight that you have. User is liking or not liking that feature, so you want to go ahead and improve it or remove it. Okay. Similarly, the market opportunities, which is what are the different opportunities in the market, what are the trends in the market, or what are your competitors doing. Or based on the data analytics, you are going to create a list of opportunities. Right? Now you have these business opportunities, and now these are the solution space. Solution space as in what is it that AI can do for you right now? So AI can help you build recommendations and rankings, clustering and categorization, forecasting and regression, anomaly detection, and the most popular these days, contextual content creation, which is also called as Gen AI. Okay, now you have the problem space, you have the solution space. How do you merge them together in order to build AI products? So you have to consider the execution. So this is how the execution of an AI product looks like. So you have to consider these things. The first thing is, before you jump onto the execution, make sure that you have an in-depth understanding of the problem. What is the problem that you're trying to solve, and who are the people who are facing this problem, and why it is important for you to solve this problem. The second consideration that you need to have is clear product hypothesis. Now, if you understand that this problem could be solved by this particular solution, then what is the product that you are evangelizing, or if you are thinking about in your head? Okay, you have to be very clear about your product hypothesis, how it is going to help the users. After that, what is the choice of model? So you have to, in order to solve your problems by taking up on any of these solutions, you have to use a model. So what is going to be the choice of the model? Similarly, how would you acquire data, and how would you go ahead and train your models? Whether it is going to be a RAG based application, or it is going to be a fine-tuned model. Okay. Similarly, you have to consider some kind of cost consideration. What is the cost of token? What is the cost of deployment? Then you will talk about infrastructure requirement, which is how do you train your models? How do you store your data? How do you make sure that your system is functionally available all the times? Similarly, we'll talk about user experience considerations. As I've told you that whenever you are creating an AI-based products, there are some user experience considerations or challenges, which we are going to talk about in a moment. Eventually, you will talk about feedback and evaluations. Understand, AI has an habit of hallucination, which is it gives you wrong answers with a lot of confidence. Okay, so how do you solve all of these things? I'm going to tell you in just a moment when we talk about feedback and evaluations. Eventually, as a product manager, your job is not only to do the technical work, but to also make sure that the product, you are able to launch the product and you are able to grow the product. Okay, so that consideration you also have to create. You also have to understand about creating a go-to-market strategy. And eventually, the most important part that you need to know is that product management is a team sport. You need to do a great collaboration job with your tech, data, design, and other teams to make sure that you are able to convert your product into a reality by executing well. So this is in a nutshell what the AI product development lifecycle looks like and what are the considerations that you need to go through. Okay, so understand AI is not just technology. You have to do a lot of other things in order to make sure that you are able to convert that technology into a full-fledged product or a helpful product for your users or for your business. Yes. Now, now let's talk about what are your responsibilities in this complete product development lifecycle as a product manager. Okay, so I'm going to use a common framework shared by Marty Kagan in his book, which will help you understand what are different responsibilities that a product manager has towards the product team or the product. Okay, so Marty has told us that there are four things that product manager needs to take care of, or maybe any person has to take care of when they are building the product. Okay, if any of these risks are not addressed, then the product is going to fail. So what are these four risks? The first thing is valuable. Before you create any product, you have to make sure that a product is valuable for some audience, which is a customer should have a need that this product is fulfilling. If there is no need of the product, no matter how much complicated technology or sophisticated UI you are using, but if people do not have a need, they are not going to use the product and the product is going to fail. So that is the usability part, whether people need this or not, or what is the problem that it solves in the life of the user. The second part is usable. Usable means that whether your product is something that can be used by the users or not. Okay, here we are talking about the UX and the UI part. No matter how helpful of a product that you create, if it's very difficult for people to use that product, they are not going to use it. Understand, GPT-2 was launched something around 2019 to 2021. Still, most of us did not know about it because we cannot interact with it. It was not a usable thing because it was only supposed to be used by the developers. But in 2022, 2023, when ChatGPT was launched, it has given a very good interface, a very easy interface of chat to a very strong GPT-3 model. That is why it has become popular. Okay, so usability becomes a very, very important part when it comes to making your product successful. The third part is feasible. Feasible means whether it is technically possible for your team to create this product or not, right? And the fourth part is viable. Viable means whether it makes sense for your business to grab this opportunity or to build this product or not. Okay, is it profitable? Is it scalable? Is it something that fits with the strategy of your team or not? Okay, so these are the four things that you need to consider while building not only AI, but any kind of product. Okay, so now in order to help you fit these four things or four risks into an AI product, I'm going to take example of a very popular product called as Perplexity. Okay, so I'm sure most of you are aware about Perplexity. If you're not aware about it, you can just go to perplexity.ai, play with the product. It's a wonderful product. And I'm going to take this as a case study to help you understand all of these four variables. Okay, so first, let's talk about valuable. Understand by valuable, I told you that there has to be a problem that the customers are facing, which will be solved by this product. That is, there has to be a need of this product. Someone should find value from this product. Okay, so here, as a researcher, I want to be able to accelerate my research phase. So, researcher is a person who is facing a problem, which is they need to accelerate the research process. So researcher could be me who is studying about creating a session on AI PMs. It could be you who is researching your customers. It could be someone who is, let's say, an academician who is looking to go ahead and research for their next paper. Okay. It could be anyone. Now, as a researcher, whenever I have to research before ChatGPT or before Perplexity, what I would do is I will search for things on Google. I will go through multiple documents and then I will take the best part from this document and then I'll create my own research. Okay. But now with the help of LLMs, what can happen is I can just give it a query and it will be able to do a lot of research for me. It will save me a lot of time. So the user need was that people needed to accelerate their research process. Okay, that was the user problem. The second problem that people were facing was that as a researcher, I want to check the sources of information in the LLM generated content. Okay, so LLM are able to help me generate research very quickly. But if you remember the chat GPT in the early days, it will not give you the sources of information, right? But people, if they are doing research, they need to validate the sources as well, right? So that was the second problem. The third problem was, as a researcher, I want to choose and try between multiple different LLM models. Okay, so there is ChatGPT, there is Claude, there is DeepSeek, and there are other models as well. Okay, so people wanted to make sure that they are able to shift between different models in order to understand the quality of different results. Okay, so these were the three problems or the three needs that people have, which Perplexity is solving. It gives you an ability to act as an LLM where it can do the research for you very quickly. It also has a model for deep research. Similarly, it can give you sources. And third is, it also allows you to change the models. Right now, it is not very obvious in Perplexity, but if you go to the setting, you should be able to also change the model. Okay. Now, this is the most critical part that you need to identify as a product manager, as in why are you building the product? Okay. So this is a role of a product manager. Okay. And how can you do this? How can you arrive at these problems? What you can do is you can build user personas and ICPs. If you are building for a B2C company, that will be called as a user persona. If you are building for a B2B company, that will be called as an ideal customer profile, which is nothing but a profile of your customer, who your customer is, what are the problems that they are facing. Similarly, you need to also create your user journey maps in order to understand what are the problems or the headaches that your customers are facing while using your product or competitor product or while solving their problems. Okay. Similarly, there is also a very popular framework called as jobs to be done, which will help you frame the problems of your customers very correctly. Okay. And understand all of these things are only possible once you go ahead and interview your users and you understand and observe your users. Okay, but it's not easy to just go ahead and ask random questions to your users. Okay, there has to be a way. There is an art of asking the right questions. Okay, so there is also a wonderful book, a very short book called as Mom's Test, which you folks can read in order to articulate better questions for your user research interview. Okay, so this is what the valuable part is. If you do this, you will be able to arrive at this, and then you will make sure that you are creating something that is actually valuable for your users. So we are talking about problem space right now. Okay, now once you have made sure that the product is valuable, you also need to make sure that the product is usable. And usability is generally the responsibility of the UX or the design team. Here you can see this is the Perplexity screen where they have given a simple screen where people can ask anything. Generally, for LLMs, chat is a better interface. And here you can see that they have given options to attach audio, attach some files, also go ahead and ask it for deep research because they might have observed people saying that I want a detailed research. Okay, so now they have made it more usable. Similarly, you can see that there are guides for help getting started, there is help center, there is keyboard shortcuts and many other options. Okay, so this is the way to make sure that the product is usable. That is through the interface. Okay. Another example from the same product is that whenever you search for something, so I search for what is the feature of doggy coin. Okay. So it is able to not only give me results, it also told me that it also enables me to share, export, or rewrite because it understands that this is what people would want to do once they get the result. Okay. I can share this, I can share it as a link, I can copy it, I can bookmark it. Now understand all of these things are making the product more usable. Okay. Similarly, it also gives me some suggested list of questions. And it also gives me an option to ask the follow-up. So the usability part makes sure that your product is more and more usable for the users. And this is generally the responsibility of the UX UI team. You as a product manager can also go ahead and empower them and enable them because you also know about the users. The purpose of usability is to make sure that your users becomes the champions of your products. Now, the third part after usability is the feasibility. Feasibility is how do you make sure that your technical team is able to do a great job? Understand most of the product managers make a mistake that rather than focusing on valuability and usability and viability, they straight away jump to the feasibility. Understand feasibility is an important part, but there are people who are more capable than you in the team who can take care of this part. Okay, but the other parts such as usability and viability and valuability, these are the things that are often missed. So as a product manager, your first responsibility is to talk about the other three parts, then jump to the feasibility. Okay. Now talking about feasibility, here you are going to understand what are the applications of the large language model. Okay, does it generate text, video, images? What is the quality of that generation that it is doing? Okay, so this your technical team can help you with. Similarly, what are your data? What are your index sources? For example, right now, Perplexity actually creates an index of all the websites in the world, and then it runs its LLM on the top of that data. Okay, so that is a complexity, technical complexity that the feasibility part will cater to. Similarly, the scalability of the platform, what happens if 1,000 people are searching at once? What happens if 10,000 people are searching at once? Okay, what is the performance and latency? How are you securing the data of the users? How are you managing the whole SDLC? SDLC means software development lifecycle. Here, you as a product manager has to play a role because you have to make sure that things are being done on time. Plus, you have to make sure that people are building exactly the same stuff that is being asked by the users. Okay. Similarly, you are also going to lead experimentation. You have to define the experiments. You have to define the hypothesis behind the experiment, and then you have to give it to your developers so that they are able to test and run these experiments. And eventually, the last and the most important part for the business is the viability. Viability means that whether it makes an economical sense to build this product or pursue this opportunity or not. Okay. So here we are going to consider the cost of tokens. Cost of token means that as a product manager, if you are implementing any kind of ready-made model, then will the generation be commercially sustainable for you or not? Okay, because every model would have a different cost of tokens. Similarly, what is the cost of infrastructure? What is going to be the pricing and monetization strategy? Whether how do you get money from the users to make a viable business? Okay. Similarly, you are going to talk about fitment with the company strategy, whether it aligns with the company strategy or not. Then, what is the possibility of scale? Running an AI model at an MVP level or a small level is much different than running it at scale. So, how you are going to scale your business, how you are going to scale everything going forward. Okay, and eventually business partnerships. Let's say Perplexity has done multiple partnerships with universities, small businesses to make sure that it becomes a go-to tool for these kind of businesses. So, this is about the growth. Okay, there is another aspect of business, which is you can now partner with other businesses in order to leverage their power as well. For example, there are many companies who are partnering with each other. For example, 11 Labs has partnered with OpenAI. Stripe has partnered with OpenAI in order to make sure that their teams are able to use these models. Okay, so now in the viable part, you are going to put the business hat on. Okay, now to summarize, as an AI product manager, you need to take care of your product from multiple angles. Okay, your responsibility is to make sure your first responsibility is to make sure that the product is valuable and then the product is also viable. Okay, this is the PM responsibility. Now, you also have to enable your design team in order to make sure that the product is usable. And you also have to enable your tech team and data team in order to make sure that the product is also feasible. Okay, but your primary responsibility remains the valuable part and the viable part. Okay, so this is your role in the AI product development lifecycle. Your role is not just a technical role, but also to make sure that the product actually succeeds. And for that, you need the valuable part and the viable part also figured out, along with the usable and the feasible part. Yes. Now that we have understood the AI product development lifecycle, we have understood the responsibilities of a product manager, and we have also understood how to execute an AI product. Now we are going to talk about what are the building blocks of building any kind of AI products. Okay, so let's get started. These are the building blocks of AI products. In most of the AI products, you are going to see the similar kind of building blocks. Okay, so the first building block is the model, the thing or the code that is going to help you generate data and take decisions. Okay. And there could be three kind of models. One is foundational model, second is fine-tuned model, third is custom model. Foundational model is you are taking a ready-made model as is, and then you are using it for your own use case. The second model is a fine-tuned model where you train this model and you fine-tune it on your own data so that it is possible for it to solve for your own particular use case. And then we have a custom model where some companies go ahead and build their models from scratch. Okay, so you can either build your model, You can steal the model, which is some models such as DeepSeek and others are also open source. Llama is open source, so you can just get them and then you can use them. And then you also have the method of borrowing, which is you can use another API such as open by OpenAI or maybe from some other company, and then you can use it on rent. You have to pay for each API call. Now, to give you some examples, Grok is a model that is given by XAI. Then OpenAI has multiple models such as GPT. They also have a model called as Whisper, which is used for audio-based generation. And then we also have something, a very interesting model called as AlphaFold 1, which is created by Google's DeepMind, and it is helpful in biological research and it is able to identify the patterns of protein. And it has done, let's say, some really great job in order to understand the DNAs and the proteins. Now, the second part is the data layer. Data layer means you have to collect the data for your training, you have to clean the data, you have to label the data, you have to store the data, and then you have to make sure that as your product goes forward and the user start giving you more data, you have to keep on updating your data. And data is a very, very important layer for any AI based product, because without the data, you will not be able to train, you will not be able to contextualize that model as per your own use case. Okay. And here we have multiple services. For example, Pinecone is a vector based data storage, which will help you store the vector embeddings of data. Understand? Whenever you are trying to train a neural network, when you want to give your data to the neural network, you cannot give it in the form of text. So you have to convert it in the form of a vector embedding. And vector embedding can be stored in a vector-based database. Pinecone is a prime example. Similarly, in order to annotate your data, there is a tool called a super annonate that will help you do annonation at scale automatically. Okay. Similarly, you have to talk about infrastructure, which is how are you going to compute all of these? How are you going to do all of these computations? Similarly, how are you going to host the data? How are you going to monitor what is happening with your models, what is happening with your AI products? And similarly, you have to model the orchestration. Orchestration as in there are multiple things. There is a user interface, there is an API, there is a large language model, there is an evaluation. How everything comes together is called as an orchestration. Okay, and there are multiple out-of-the-box solutions for the same. For example, Amazon has something called a SageMaker, which help you build, deploy, and run AI-based products. We also have multiple GPUs popular from NVIDIA, which is actually built for training the large language models. And then we also have something from Apache called as Airflow, which is an orchestration tool. Okay, understand, as a PM, you do not need to go into details of these tools. I'm just telling you so that when developers talk about it, you know what is the use case for the same. Okay. Similarly, when we talk about the user interface for building AI products, you have to take care of multiple things. First is how are you going to visualize the output to the user so they are able to understand? Understand, Claude has something called as artifacts, and ChatGPT quickly copied them and created something called as Canvas. So visualization actually plays a very important role. Similarly, guidance, whether your user knows how the data is coming, are you following the transparency, whether the user understands how to use your AI product, that guidance you need to provide it. Okay. Similarly, the data that is generated from the LLMs is generally indeterministic. It is probabilistic, right? So how do you cater to that to make sure that users are having the best experience and they are not getting biased answers or some hallucinated answers? How do you take care of the same? And similarly, the latency. Understand? AI will call an API, some calculation will happen at the back end, some generation will happen at the back end, and then the customer is going to get the response. So, how do you make sure that this latency is at its minimum so that you are not giving a way for your competitors to go ahead and grab your customers? Because people are generally frustrated by latencies. Okay. And then if you want to really want to get good with creating AI based user interfaces, then you should definitely do a reverse engineering on interfaces created by Perplexity, 11 Labs, Lovable, and many such products. So use any AI product and then try to reverse engineer what are the UI optimizations and what are the UI, I would say UX elements that they have used in order to further optimize your usability. Similarly, the next building block is trust, security, and feedback. How do you make sure that although your LLM or your AI model is very open-ended, your AI product is very open-ended, still people are able to feel safe and people are able to give you the right kind of feedback before the AI does any harm to the people, okay, or to your own system. Now here you have to put up some kind of guardrails. You have to put user feedback loop. So whenever you go ahead and get any output from any AI, it asks you whether the output was good or bad. So you can give it the feedback. Similarly, you have to run evaluation. Evaluation will help you understand how to reduce the hallucination, how to reduce the biases, and how to make sure that your data is actually getting outputted in the right format. And then here you have multiple products that you can use. There is something very interesting that Microsoft has built, which is Presidio, which helps you do this job. So what it does is it understands if there is any identifiable information in your content, in your prompt, or in the AI generated content, and it is going to go ahead and mask this information. Okay, it is going to understand what is the information and it is going to mask this information so that the user's data, even if the user is unknowingly giving the data to you, you should be able to mask this data. Okay, and then there is a tool called as Rebuff and TrueLens, which can also help you make sure that your prompts are secure. Okay, so these are out of the box tools that you can use in your AI model or your AI products in order to make it more safer for the people who are going to use it and make them more secure. Okay, similarly, there is something called as prompt engineering. Okay, now AI based products are nothing, but you are taking your data, your context, converting it to a prompt, and then giving to an LLM and asking it for a particular kind of output. So eventually, what you are doing is a high level of prompt engineering. Okay, so for prompt engineering, you need to know how to write the prompt design, how to evaluate the output of the AI or the LLM, and how do you make sure that you are able to make your model and your prompt very updated, because with every evaluation you are going to learn. How do you make sure that you are keeping it very updated? Okay, and eventually the last part is the business layer. Business layer, it is the most important one for a product manager. And here as a product manager, you need to understand how does the AI initiatives that you are taking, how do they relate to the OKRs? How do they have the strategic alignment? OKR means objective and key results. It's a goal setting mechanism for multiple companies. Okay, so how does your initiatives of AI are leading towards the bigger business goals? How are you going to measure the efficiency and the value and the viability of your product? Okay, how are you going to monetize it and how you are going to optimize the cost of your product? Okay, so these are the 7 building blocks of any AI product, which is models, data layer, infrastructure, user interface, trust, security, feedback, prompt engineering, and business layer. Now, with that being said, let us go ahead and try to understand few examples. Okay, so we'll consider example of, let's say, Notion AI. How does it work, and what you can learn from the same. So this is how Notion AI works. In Notion AI, what happens is you have created multiple documents in your Notion. Okay, now if you want to search for something on Notion, you generally, before Notion AI, you need to go ahead and search for the exact term that you have mentioned in this documents. Okay, but now what you can do is you can just give a common English language prompt, and then it will be able to search and give you the right kind of data, even if you have not written the same word. So what it is doing is it is taking the prompt, then it is sending the prompt to an LLM, and while it is giving it to LLM, it is also inputting your data. Your data as in whatever documents that you have created in your Notion workspace. Okay, so now it is making the LLM more contextual to your own Notion workspace. Okay, so now your Notion is more relevant. Your queries or your prompts are going to become more relevant for Notion AI. Okay, second example is Stripe. So Stripe was facing a problem that their developer documentation are very long documents. Okay, there is huge developer documentation, and when someone is trying to implement that, they are running into challenges, and then they have to again search for documentation. Okay, so what they did was they created something. So a user can give an English language prompt, as in, I want to implement your payment gateway in simple JavaScript and I do not have server-side access. How do I do this? Okay. Before this, the user has to search for multiple documents in order to get the answer. Now they can write a prompt. The LLM will take all the developer documentation that AI has. Then it is going to merge it with a common LLM such as OpenAI ChatGPT. Okay. And then it is going to give answer to the user. Okay. So here, if we talk about a general foundational LLM, there it only takes care of the data that it has been trained on. But here we are adding the context with the documentation of Stripe, and in Notion's case, we were using all the Notion documents. Okay. Similarly, if you look at another product, if you look at another product which is Atlassian Intelligence, if you look at Atlassian Intelligence, then what Atlassian Intelligence is, it is your most dreaded tool of Jira and Confluence. And then they are giving you a prompt-based interface on the top of the same. Okay, so what they're doing is with Jira Intelligence, with Atlassian Intelligence, what you can do is you can find the right tickets, you can define stories and tasks, you can automated reporting, you can improve communication of your developers and yourself, and you can do automated follow-ups, automated ticket processing just by writing few prompts in English. You don't have to go ahead and use the Jira query language or something else. Okay, so how do they do this is they are taking the prompt from you. They are enriching the prompt. They are adding more context with the data that you already have, because you already have a Jira workspace. It is giving all of the information to the prompt. Okay, it is giving all the context. And based on that context, it is sending the query, the updated query or the updated prompt to the LLM, and the LLM is giving you the output. Okay, so most of the popular products of Notion AI, Stripe, Atlassian Intelligence, so many hundreds of products are actually based on the same model, where what they do is they give some contextual information to the LLM, and the LLM gives you the answer in that particular context, making the LLM a very good model if you want to give a English language based interface for the users of your product. Okay, now all of this is possible because of a very simple model and a very powerful model architecture of building AI applications. That model is called as RAG, also called as retrieval, augment, and generate. So what happens in this model is, and look at this carefully, guys, because this is a very, very important concept right now. So what happens is, in an RAG, now let's try to understand how does RAG works. Okay, so as I've told you that RAG stands for retrieval, augment, and generate. So what we do is we first take our own data source. What is the data source? If I'm talking about Notion, that all my documents and files that I have created in Notion, these are going to become my data source. If I'm talking about Stripe, then all the developer documentation that I have is going to become my document. And similarly, when I'm talking about, let's say, Atlassian Intelligence or your Jira, then all of my tickets, my stories, my workplace details, my Confluence documents are going to become the data source. Okay. So if you go ahead and combine the prompt with data and give it to the LLM, it is going to give you the details. Okay. No, that is wrong. What will happen is that if you try to give the whole data source to the prompt will become out of context. Understand? There is a context window, which is in a prompt, you can only fill this much of data. Okay. So if you combine your prompt with the data source, before giving it to the LLM will run out of context. It will not be able to give you the right results. So what we do is, rather than taking the whole data, we only take relevant data. So what we do is, we take this prompt, we understand the prompt, we understand what are the files that are important for us from all of these data sources, from any of these data sources. Okay, then we only take that part of the data and then we combine the prompt plus relevant data and then we send it to the LLM. And the LLM is able to go ahead and give you the output. Okay, and in order to find this relevant data, what we do is we do not search for everything. We do not search for everything in the text-based documents. What we do is we first convert these documents, we first convert these documents into something called as vector embeddings, because this is something that your large language model can understand. Okay, so just to help you again understand the flow, all of the popular AI based products, most of the popular AI based products are actually based on RAG architecture, where you do not have to fine tune the model. You don't have to train the model again. Understand? Training the model takes a lot of cost and a lot of time. So what we do is we just take all of our knowledge resources, which could be Notion database, your Google Docs, or anything, any product that you are using. It is going to convert them into vector embeddings. When you send them a prompt, along with a query, let's say you want some kind of data that is understood from the prompt, then it is going to first search for the relevant information from your data sources in the vector embeddings. After that, it is going to add to the context of the LLM. Then it is going to send the prompt to the LLM along with the enhanced context. Understand this enhanced context is coming from this. Okay. And then it is going to give you the data. So now you have created a product which is now a AI which is contextual to your own database or to your own users' information. Right? So this is RAG. Now, whenever we are building AI products, there are some challenges that we are going to face. Okay. Some common challenges are that the AI is going to think that it is the God and it knows everything. Okay. Now, in order to define these challenges, we can say that AI faces hallucination. Hallucination means AI is going to give you wrong information, but with full confidence. So if you don't know about the topic, you would not know whether it is correct or not. The second is AI is going to have a lot of biases. Okay, based on the data that has been trained on, it can have some kind of biases. And the third is it is indeterministic. You do not know whether it is going to output the things in the same format or not. Okay, so it is very indeterministic. So how do you take care of all of this? Okay, although we cannot 100% make sure that these things are avoided, but we can make sure that we are taking some steps in order to avoid them as much as possible. Okay, and for that, I'm going to introduce you to something called as AI evaluations or evals. Okay, this is also most of the time a responsibility of a product manager because you are understanding the nuances of multiple outputs. Okay, so what is an eval? What happens in eval is that you write a prompt. The prompt is sent to an RAG system, and then the RAG system contains some data in the LLM, data which is contextual to you and the LLM, which I've already told you. Okay, now that RAG is going to give some kind of output. Now, rather than going ahead and trusting that output, you will again evaluate that output with another kind of LLM. Okay, so one LLM has given you the output that this is the information. Now you are going to put this information in another LLM and give it a prompt so that you are able to understand whether the other LLM also is saying the same thing about this particular output. Okay, so this is AI above AI to make sure that you are able to evaluate the results or the output of an AI. Okay, to give you an example, the evals can help you check the output or your results for following things. It can help you check the correct syntax and format. Let's say you want your LLM to give the output in a particular JSON format. So you can check whether this format is correct or not with another LLM. Similarly, you can check for hallucinations, you can check for biases, and if you want to put any other checks as well. Now, in order to understand the evaluations well, let us consider a simple example. Okay, let's say we want to build, let's say we want to build a AI first job website. Okay, so this is the functionality of that website. What we'll do is we will first crawl the jobs from the open internet. We'll go to Google, LinkedIn, and other websites in order to crawl the jobs. By crawling, I mean we'll be able to get information from this website as soon as it is updated. And for that, we can use things such as Scrapbee as software. We can use SERP API. We can also use headless browsers. This will make sure that we are able to crawl the websites. Okay. Now, every job description, every job will give us the description plus the title of the job plus location and some more information. What we'll do is we will use an LLM, any LLM such as GPT, DeepSeek, Anthropic, Llama, we can use any LLM in order to convert that information into this. Okay, so we will take the job description, we will input our own data with the help of RAG, and then we'll be able to create something like the summary of job description, possible interview questions, what are the skills needed to perform that job well, a learning guide that will help you crack the interview, and also a small quiz for assessment. So that if people come to our job website for the same job, they'll be able to get this much information as well, and they'll be able to assess themselves. Okay, so this is, let's say, a simple idea of a job. But now we do not know whether, let's say, all of this information that is given to us by the LLM, it's actually correct, it is actually in the right format or not. So what we can do is we can put an evaluation on the top of the same. So what we'll do is our AI will generate all of this data. It will store it in the database. Now on this data, we will again run an LLM. Okay. In that LLM, we are going to ask whether this data is free of bias, if it is correct or not, if it is actually factual or not, and if it is, let's say, the relevant data or not. How do we do this? So what are we going to write in this evaluation? Let me show you. Okay. So this is the exact evaluation that we are going to need. Okay. This is the exact evaluation that we are going to use. So we are going to here at this particular place, we are going to put another LLM and we are going to ask this particular format. Okay, we are going to tell it, you are an AI quality content evaluator for product management job listings. Now, this is the input that we have got from AI1. Okay, so we have the job description, we have the AI generated summary, we have interview questions, we have skills, we have concepts and learning guide. We also have the quiz. So we have all of this information stored. Okay, we have put it together in a format. Now we are going to ask the AI to evaluate the content using the following checklist. Okay, so is the summary accurate? So we can put all of these considerations here, which is hallucination, which is incorrect data, all of the apprehensions that we have. Okay, and then it is going to generate this particular information. Now on top of this, either we can reject it or we can go ahead and improve the prompts that we are giving to our LLM here. Okay, and then we can also create an interface where all of this information is stored, and then someone can manually check if the AI is doing a good job or not. Okay, so that is what evaluation is. It will help you understand and remove all of these issues that a particular AI product can have. Okay, so they are very helpful, and most of the time, product managers might be responsible for writing some of the evaluations. Okay, now with that being said, we have talked about RAG, we have talked about evaluations. Now, so far, we are only exchanging information. So far, we are only exchanging information. Now, if you want to take the AI game ahead, you can go ahead and implement agents. What are agents? Agents are intelligence, action plus autonomy, which is LLMs are already intelligent. They can go ahead and think about a lot of things. They can reason as well, but they cannot take actions. So what you can do is you can connect your LLMs to some kind of external tools through APIs. If you don't know what is an API, we have conducted a very detailed masterclass on AI API as well, which you can go ahead and check it from our YouTube channel. As a product manager, it's must have for you to know about AI API as well. Okay. Now, when you give the ability to do actions to your AI, it becomes an AI agent. Okay, and there are many tools with which you can create your own AI agents. Let me give an example what an AI agent looks like. Okay, so let's say, what will an AI agent function like? Let's say I get a lot of emails on my Gmail asking for some schedules where I can do some speaker sessions or some guest sessions. Okay, what I want to do is whenever some of that email comes to me on my Gmail, an AI should be able to understand the email. And if it is about, let's say, a speaker invitation or a guest invitation, it should automatically send it my Calendly link so that they are able to schedule without involving me in the process. Okay, so this is what I can do. If I have to create an agent for the same, what I'll do is I'll first call Gmail API. What is Gmail API? Gmail application programming interface, so that I'm able to get all the incoming emails. Okay. So I'll call the Gmail API. Now, whenever any incoming email is received, whenever any incoming email is received, I am going to send this email to the LLM such as GPT or Claude or anyone. Okay, now that LLM is going to tell me whether it's an event invitation or it's not an event invitation. If it's not an invitation, you don't have to do anything. If it's an event invitation, it should send an automatic email through again the Gmail API, through the Gmail API with my calendar link. Okay, so this is the ultra simple example of an AI agent, because it is not only telling me whether this event is actually, whether this email is about an event or not, it is actually taking the action for me. It is reading my emails and it is also giving me automated replies for that email. Okay, now if you want to build your own agents, there are multiple very user-friendly websites. You can go to agent.ai. This is what the interface looks like. You can create your agent from ready-made templates. You can also go ahead and use a wonderful tool called as Zapier or N8N, which will help you create workflows, AI tools, or AI agents to make sure that you are able to automate your tasks and you are also able to bring efficiency to your personal and your work life. Okay, and it's a good start if you really want to build your own AI product. Starting from these tools is really a good start. Okay, now guys, we have talked about multiple concepts about AI, and I'm sure that all the information that I have given you will help you go ahead in your career and maybe become an AI product manager and create AI products which are going to be helpful for so many people around the world. But now let's talk about you, which is how do you get a job as an AI product manager, or how do you get a better job as an AI product manager? Okay, what happens is that generally when people come to me and when people come to, let's say, hiring managers and they ask that I want to become an AI PM, the other person wants to understand why. Okay, and the people generally tell me or themselves that I want to become an AI PM because I am really passionate about AI. There are so many things that are passionate that are happening in AI, and I'm really looking forward to do AI in the future. Okay, but understand this person cannot care less. Okay, they only are looking for whether you can go ahead and do the job well or not. Okay, so before talking about passion, you have to make sure that you are bringing the value on table, and you should give this person a reason or some kind of indication that this person actually knows the job. Okay, so information does not matter. Although in this program, in this last 1.5 hour, I have given you a lot of information. I have told you about AI PDLC. I have told you about the responsibilities of a PM, which is usable, viable, feasible, and valuable. And then I have also told you about RAG. I have also told you multiple examples from Notion, Stripe, and I've also gone ahead and told you about evaluations. Okay, but understand, all of the things that I've given you so far is just a piece of information. No matter how many times I'm going to repeat the same building blocks in front of you, the models, data infrastructure, and everything, understand it is all just a piece of information. Information gets you nowhere. What you need is knowledge so that you are able to think on your feet. Because the problem that I have already told you, these problems are already solved. You have to solve new problems. Okay, for that you need not information, you need knowledge. So how do you convert information to knowledge? You should convert that information into knowledge with the help of actions. So you have to act. Do not sit on a large pile of information where you are doing nothing. Please take action and convert that information into knowledge. So the question is, how do you take action? So what you need to do is, if you are really serious about your career as an AI PM, please do this. Understand, in the future, AI will not replace you, but a person who knows AI better than you is going to replace you. Okay, so you have to take that action to make sure that you are future proof and you are able to walk towards your dream in order to become an AI product manager. Okay, so these are the things that you need to do. These are the 7 things that you need to do. Number 1 is look at the top AI products and reverse engineer them. Okay, you can go to this website called as Futurepedia. Okay, where you should be able to see a lot of modern new AI tools Pick up a tool, understand if you were the product manager, how would you dissect that tool, reverse engineer that tool, understand the UI practices, understand what are the models they might be using, understand how do they help the users, how is that business model viable. Okay, once you do this, you will start developing that product sense around AI products, which is super essential. Okay, and do it for multiple products. Okay, the second part is understand gaps, frustrations in your personal or professional workflow. Pick up a diary, try to understand what are the things that you do at your job. Try to understand what are the things that you do at your personal life, like going to gym, waking up on time, reading something, talking to your wife, talking to your, let's say, children, okay, or helping your children understand some stories or some concepts. Okay, write down all of these tasks and try to understand whether there is possibility for you to build some AI tools or agents to solve your own problems at work, or your own problems at your home. Okay, if you think you don't have problem, then either you have to reflect more, or you can also go with the problem that your friends are facing. Okay, this will give you actual motivation to solve the problem, because you can only solve problems when you empathize with them, and you cannot empathize more with anyone else than with yourself. Okay, then start writing what you learn. Okay, now you are acquiring the information. Okay, just acquiring information does not mean anything. You have to reflect on that information. You have to think about that information. And for that, what you will do is you will start writing or putting yourself out there. So, whatever you are learning, start to articulate it. Understand writing is a method of thinking. Writing makes your thinking more clear. Okay. So, you can write on Substack, you can write on LinkedIn, you can write on multiple other platforms as well. Okay. Don't try to preach, just write to make sure that if you have understood something, writing will give you a better understanding if you have really understood it. Okay. And then if you go ahead and put it out there, people are going to give you feedback, and then you are going to learn more. And then if you are, let's say, putting things on Substack on LinkedIn, it might be possible that you will stumble upon some recruiter or some maybe entrepreneur who want to go ahead and maybe work with you. Okay. And then keep a track of AI companies. Okay. Go to this website called as ycombinator.com/companies. Go to various companies which are, let's say, seed funds, VC funds, and look at their portfolio. Go to websites such as INC42, websites such as FNE SMEs, FinSMEs.in, okay, or .com, I'm not sure. Okay, go to these websites. They will tell you what are the companies that are upcoming and that are being funded, so that you can look at these products. And then the next step is ask yourself, if you are the product manager at that company, if you are the AI product manager at that company, how would you improve, enhance, or expand their product? Okay, now you are not only learning, you are implementing your knowledge. Okay, and once you have done this, maybe it will take you 2, 3 days in order to come up with good research around a particular product. Then you have to send it to the companies. Okay, so let's say I am building HelloPM. If you find anything that I can improve on my product in order to help you become a better product manager, you can go ahead and send me the suggestions. And then if I believe that you are the good person to, let's say, execute them, I would be more than happy to go ahead and hire you as a person in my team. And that is true with every other entrepreneur. We are always looking for people who have the fire to reach out to us, who also have these skills. And will clearly tell people, this work that you are doing will clearly tell people whether you know product management or not. Okay, so these are the steps that you need to follow. If you are going to follow them, write, I commit to doing this in the comment section, and let me know if you are really committing to doing this. Understand, guys, I know that 99.9% people who are going to watch this video are not going to do this. Okay, but really, if you want to become the 0.1%, if you really want to get and fulfill your dream of becoming an AI product manager, I think you should go ahead and write, I commit in the chat, and let's see if you are able to go ahead and do the hard work or not. Okay, and now the last part. Right now, the job market is tough. There are many people who are applying at a lot of places and they are getting rejected. Many people are being ghosted. There are less number of jobs, more number of candidates. But let me tell you guys that still right now in the market, there are some opportunities which are open. There are some good companies that are hiring. And if you are approaching your job search process with the right methodology, you should be able to get something right now or maybe very soon. Okay, so this is the 3 bucket approach that I'm going to tell you. Okay, so what you should do is you should first create a wonderful resume. Wonderful resume as in I will attach a guide in the description of the YouTube video somewhere, which contains a guide to improve your resume. Go through that guide, understand what you can improve in your resume, and then create a list of companies where you want to go ahead and apply. Okay, how do you choose a list of company? Make sure that you are active on at least, if you're aggressively looking for a job, you should be active on at least top popular job sites in your country. Okay, let's say in India we have LinkedIn, InstaHire, Naukri, Indeed, Hirist, and so many. So you have to be active on all of these websites, and all of these websites might have a feature which is called as email alerts, so that whenever a relevant job listing is being posted, you are getting informed first. Okay, so leverage that. And now once you have a very large set of websites or large set of jobs that you can apply to, now what you should do is, number one is take your resume and apply with it. Make sure that your resume is very relevant to the job description. Okay, you can use some chat GPT prompts or some AI prompts in order to make it more relevant. Just make sure that before you send the resume, you give a manual check as well. Okay, this is to be done with about 80% of the companies, because you cannot customize your application for each and every company. You here can take the help of AI. The second is, for the companies where you think you are a bit more relevant, what you should do is you should take your resume. You should write a cover letter. In the cover letter, you should write that you should find the email of the person in that company, or the hiring manager, or the senior people in that company, and you should write that this is who I am, and this is the job that I have seen, and these are the three reasons I believe I'm a perfect fit for this job. Okay, and for getting the brownie points, you can also attach your portfolio. Portfolio tells people that you are really interested in the job, plus you also have the right kind of knowledge. Okay, how to create a portfolio? On our YouTube channel, we have a very elaborated video on how to create your portfolio. You can just go to the channel, and then from the videos part, you should be able to get that video. Okay, that's a very important video, and that will help you create portfolio from scratch. I have mentioned all the tools, all the case studies, all the things that you can include in your portfolio. Okay, second, for the second kind of companies, you should go ahead and include your portfolio, cover letter, and the resume as well. This has to be done with, let's say, about 50%, 15% of the companies. Okay. Now, in the end, for some companies where you think you are aligning with that mission statement, you are really passionate about that company, and you believe that you have higher chances of getting shortlisted in that company because of your interest or your domain matter expertise. Okay. Or maybe you know someone at this company. What you should do in this case is, rather than only sending the resume and the cover letter on the portfolio, what you should also do is you should add some value. How do you add value? Imagine that if you were the product manager at that company, what you would do in your first 6 months. Imagine that if you are the product manager at that company, what you would do in your first 6 months. Okay, go ahead, take that information, do the research, use multiple tools, talk to people, talk to other product managers in the same fraternity, and then collect all of your learnings and send it to the companies. If you take, let's say, if it takes you maybe 10 to 12 hours for doing the one case study for one industry, then if you do it for similar industry for other companies, it is going to take you less time. And eventually, as you're doing this stuff, your portfolio is getting built, plus you are getting better at product management. Yes, it is going to take a lot of efforts, but most of the time, if you send it to about 10 to 20 companies, I'm sure you are going to receive callbacks from few of them. Because this particular thing works because of a simple reason, that when you are sending work to any company, they understand that you are genuinely interested in the opportunity, and you have already showcased your talent by showing them a clear value add. Okay, so if you follow the three bucket approach, this is for majority of companies, this is for some companies, this is for the most relevant companies, I'm sure you will be able to go ahead and get a job. Okay, we have many people at HelloPM in our alumni network who are able to crack jobs in multiple great companies such as Cred by implementing the same approach. Okay, now if you are here, if you have watched the full video, I'm sure that you are someone who is really passionate and who really wants to become an AI product manager. Okay, now if you want to become an AI product manager, and if you're looking for some kind of expert handholding, mentorship, a community, and where you can also learn by doing things, then I have something very special for you. Okay, so we have launched our cohort on AI product management at HelloPM. where people from companies such as Misho, Walmart, IndiaMart, Meta, Paytm, Google are going to teach you about how to do AI product management. Okay, this is a curriculum where we will help you build your own product. We will give you hands-on understanding of AI tools. We will train you for 15 weeks and then we will give you job support for 24 months and the alumni support and the community support. Okay, and even after getting the job, if you have any kind of questions, you can always reach out to us. Okay, we also do one-on-one mentorship and the weekly office hours where you can ask your questions. We give you 20 plus case studies on multiple AI and non-AI products. We also give you 5 hands-on assignments with one-on-one feedback, and we also give you job and networking assistance. Understand? HelloPM has so far teached more than 1,500 people, and all of these people are working at different kind of top product-based companies. So you also have our network available. Okay, and in this program, you will join alumni from Microsoft, Amazon, Razorpay, Cred, and multiple, like more than 500 more companies because we have been there in the industry for more than 4 years now. Okay, we have a large product management community. And eventually, we will also help you build solid product skills, not only the AI skills, but also solid product skills, which will make you relevant forever. Skills such as product sense and empathy, user and market research, product growth, product roadmap execution, technology for product managers, product analytics, how to create wireframes, how to create UX, tools for product managers, and then we'll also prepare you for multiple interview preparations and opportunities. And also we give mock interviews for each and every candidate. Okay, so if you are interested, you can just go ahead, check our website. You can go to hellopm.co. We have mentioned all the information in a very transparent way. Okay, you can talk to the alumni. We have mentioned more than, I would say, 70, 80 reviews with all the LinkedIn profiles and YouTube videos attached. So it is kept very transparent to help you out. Okay, if you are struggling to choose, why should we choose HelloPM rather than other training programs, there is a clear answer table for you. There is a detailed curriculum. I'm sure you are not going to find more detailed curriculum around product management on any other product management program. Everything we teach with the help of case studies. There are outcomes mentioned to make sure that you are knowing what you are getting yourself into. And we also give you advanced modules. So if you complete basic modules, we also give you advanced modules without any additional charges. Okay, which is AI ML for product managers, UX UI for product managers, and growth and user acquisition and product marketing for product managers. Okay, you can see the instructors, you can see the guest instructors, you can see the costing and everything on the website. Okay, and there are multiple FAQs which you can see. Okay, if you guys are genuinely interested in becoming an AI product manager, if you're serious about the same and if you can work together with us, I would love to have you in the program. With that being said, we are now towards the end of the video. Now, if you're someone who is serious about their product management career, you can go ahead and check out hellopm.co. I'm sure you are going to like the curriculum. If you are someone who is looking for more informational content and more free videos from us, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you really like the video, make sure that you share the video with people who are aspiring to be AI product managers, and also let us know your feedback in the comments. Go ahead, guys. Best of luck. Make the best out of your career. Take care and thank you